could have walked away if I wanted to. But
Well, Coach Durden, it's been 25 great years of coaching here at the loveliest village, and we'd like to kind of go over those past 25 years, maybe even go back further than that. But I think maybe a good starting point would be how you got the job at Auburn back in 1951. And is it true you had applied for it before that?
Yes, all of that's true, but first let me say how delighted I am to have you here in my den in Auburn, and we're so pleased to always see you. But anyway, to go back many years ago, I was most interested in the job at Auburn in 1948, I guess, when Coach Earl Brown was hired, and I had gone before the committee here at Auburn, and, wanted to be considered. I guess perhaps, Carl, I was considered to a certain extent, but there was a pretty general feeling among Auburn people that an Auburn man couldn't get the job done at Auburn, and I remember telling a lot of people that if an Auburn man couldn't get the job done at Auburn, they ought to close the joint up. I was a little hot under the collar about everything, and because I loved Auburn, and I liked living in Auburn, and so did my family, and I wanted to come back, so I was keenly disappointed, but perhaps it worked for the best. Well, anyway, 3 years later, this would be in early winter months, January, February of 1951, the Auburn job came open again. But I'd been so frustrated and perhaps even a little disillusioned about 1948. And then, too, I was most happy at Georgia, working for Wallace Butts. I, by then, had become the line coach. I had been relieved of basketball, that I'm sure we'll talk about later. And we had bedded down in Athens. We loved the people. We loved the university. I loved the working conditions there. And Georgia had a good football program then, as they do now. And so I knew about the job, but I had been so disappointed I did not make application to come back to Auburn. And I kept up with the situation in the Atlanta Constitution and Atlanta Journal, and I read where my old classmate and close personal friend over the years, Jeff Beard, had been made the athletic director, and that was great, and I wired him congratulations. And I guess several days later, I had a call from Jeff, and he said, what's going on? There's no application from you for the Auburn job. And I said, well, that's quite true, Jeff, and I don't intend to make an application for the Auburn job. And we talked on, and he didn't beg me, I don't mean that, but he more or less insisted, and because really of our friendship, I said, well, Jeff, I'll make application, but you know, it used to be the custom that when you made application for a coaching job, you tried to get a recommendation from every well-known coach in the country, some dead, some still active, and some people, you had recommendations that high to be sent to the school involved. And I said, I want to tell you one thing, I'm going to write a letter and make an application, but there won't be one recommendation asked for by me. After 10 years at Auburn, 4 years as a student, 10 years as a coach, if Auburn doesn't know me well enough, then there's no point in pursuing the idea. So I didn't ask. I simply wrote a little two-line letter saying, gentlemen, I hereby apply for the head football coaching job at Auburn. Most sincerely, Ralph Jordan. That was all. And eventually I was invited over and interviewed, and the athletic committee appointed by Dr. Drone voted 3-2. I came in by 3-2 vote, and then I was approved by the president and the athletic committee and became the head coach.
Well, what kind of shape was the athletic department in when you came back in 51?
Oh, I think everything at Auburn was about as low as a doodle, if that's a good expression. It's a good old Selma expression anyway. That's on the way down. The totem pole broke, $150,000 in debt, the Auburn Athletic Department. The athletic teams had really gone to pot. Auburn had lost every football game. But being broke was a serious handicap, too, because it very seriously curtailed travel. meeting with alumni. We had Jeff had to borrow money, Jeff Beard, for all kind of travel, for recruiting money, for public relations. Everything had to be borrowed because we didn't have any money, and of course with interest. And so all of that, Auburn, as far as the athletic department, and we were a corporation in those days, and I wish we were today, as a matter of fact. But we were a corporation, and dead broke, and not winning, and that's a very serious handicap. That's sort of like that deadly combination I refer to in football players. If you're small and slow, it's deadly.
It's deadly.
Well, if you're not winning and broke, that's deadly too.
Well, you can look around this beautiful campus at Auburn now and see what's been accomplished in 25 years with a almost 70,000 seat stadium that bears your name, and a coliseum, and athletic department that's in fine shape at this time.
Well, we're real proud of what's been accomplished in 25 years, and of course, about 21 of that with a close association there with Jeff Beard, who was the athletic director and still a very warm and personal friend of mine, and of course the last 4 with a young captain of mine in 52, but a young fellow, Lee Haley, I'm talking about, the present athletic director that's grown and gained experience and matured and has become a man in his own right, and I'm real proud of him. Now, so many things, I say, have been accomplished by the athletic department, by winning, by making money, and becoming well known all over the country, but it's also been with the help of a great many people. It'd be too numerous to name names here today, but let me just say, just like I told our football team last year, we did not have a winning season. It was a very dismal, disappointing season when, after all, we'd been rated high and all that. That never had a football team, and this would apply to all the rest. Received more support from alumni, friends of Auburn's, patrons of Auburn, the faculty, the student body, the alumni, you name it, the press, the media will say you couldn't ask for any more support. Crowd appeal, sellout stadiums, all the way from Commonwealth Stadium in Lexington to Grant Field to Athens to Auburn to Waco, Texas, you name it. Auburn's on the map. Auburn's a drawing card. Auburn's making money in football, and we are real proud of all that, but we are very much aware and appreciate the great help that's come from so many people. Without that help, what has been accomplished would never have been accomplished.
Coach Jordan, today a lot of the college coaches are leaving the college ranks to go into pro coaching. Did you ever consider a move like that?
Well, I did, but it was many years ago. You know, I had a short stint, I guess you would call it, with the Miami Seahawks. I always like to forget the Miami Seahawks, but it's part of my history, and under a very wonderful fellow, my coach at Auburn, Jack Marr. I worked with Jack Marr here from 1934 to 42 when I went into service. He was a great man. When I came back, things were not happy at Auburn, and I had a feeling, along with 3 other coaches, that perhaps it'd be best if we moved on. So we did, all of us, and I ended up with Coach Marr down with the Seahawks for 4 months. I really didn't like professional football, and I guess in '54, after the Gator Bowl game in Jacksonville, we'd won hands down from a fine Baylor team, Baylor University, and so an old friend of mine, Vince McNally, who was general manager of the Philadelphia Eagles, met me on the mezzanine floor at the Roosevelt Hotel, and he said, "Sugar, just want an answer one way or another. Would you be interested in taking the job with the Philadelphia Eagles? Just yes or no, and we'll never mention it." And I said, "The answer is no, Vince. I appreciate it, and I'll never mention it, but you know, 21 years later, I don't think it'll hurt anything." Oh. But anyway, a little history about that. The job eventually went to Buck Shaw. Notre Dame played under Rockney, a little bit older than I was, but he coached the Philadelphia Eagles along with Norman Van Brocklin and Bobby Freeman, who played quarterback at Auburn, was a defensive side back on the Eagle team several years later, and they beat Vince Lombardi and the Green Bay Packers for the World's Championship. So I think, to sum that up, in getting Buck Shaw, I think they got the coach they needed.
See a Loving Cup here, trophy, best all-around athlete, champion all-around athlete, Alabama Polytechnic Institute, 1931-32, James Ralph Jordan. What sports did you participate in when you were in college?
Well, Carl, I appreciate it. This cup, they don't give it anymore. It was given by the Porter clothing store out of Birmingham, and was this could have been the last year. I'm not sure, and that goes back many years. And was given for the best all-around athlete at Auburn and at Alabama. And many famous people won this cup, far more famous than I. But to answer your question, I participated in football and basketball and baseball. And Coach Hutzel wouldn't admit to this, but I even participated in track my freshman year because I had won the state championship. This is